Give me a... now they can? Alright, cool. Alright, welcome one and all to the Season 1 finale of the Beehive Racing League. I am Toon and accompanied with... I'm sorry. And I'm accompanied in the booth by T-Case and Mullet, and we've got two very, very important races to have go underway. I believe we are starting with our Division 2 race, which will be at Red Bull Ring. No, Spa? Spa. We are at Spa. Sorry, we also have the real life Spa going on at the same time. But anyway, let's get on into what we will be seeing today. Leo, change screen. Are you sure about that?
It is showing on the live stream that the screen has changed, but here in the booth, we're still seeing starting soon, BHRL.
Yep, we just got
some slight technical difficulties. Just hang with us.
We need NRL Season 4, please! We can't have Leo doing this. It's too much for his little heart.
I believe in Leo. We gotta believe in him. Power of friendship.
No! Fuck Dak Prescott, no!
You got it in there.
I did.
Well played.
Anyway, we're at Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. Just like they are in real life right now, and just like in real life, it is absolutely pouring. Leo, can we get the overlays for the, there we go. Any Group 3 car is allowed for this. Any tire is allowed. There's no requirements that I'm seeing, so it's pretty much fair game. And it looks like, as the drivers are selecting their vehicles, it's not a one make, which is definitely refreshing to see. So, since Spa has been on the mind all day, this is going to be quite interesting to see. Let's see if the drivers in this one can stack up a little better than the drivers in real life right now that are under a yellow and have been under a yellow for like the last half hour. But we are doing this for 15 laps with a 5-minute qualifier. Qualifying in the wet is definitely going to be the most interesting thing about this. Now, as Leo cycles through the event settings, you can see it will start with rain number 7, moving to rain number 5, number 3, to cloudy number 3, sunny number 8, and then we'll have clear skies at the end of the race. It's going to be a variable time rate of 30 times, so it will definitely go from day to night. It'll be doing a grid start with a false start check, with the fastest in qualifying starting first, with 10 times tire, 5 times fuel, a refuel rate of 6 liters a second, a 2-minute runoff, and that's pretty much all the important nitty-gritty you all need to know for this one. Oh, yep, no required tires. All right, we're good. But anyway, so Mullet is kind of cut his teeth some more with commentating with his event last night. And Mullet, since you did do a fair bit of commentary last night, you feeling more confident in the booth now?
No, I'm scared. I'm super scared.
All right, good to know. Luckily, you've got industry veterans like me and T-Case here. We'll take very good care of you. And moving on to you, T-Case, how fitting do you think it is that we're having the Division 2 final at Spa while the 24 hours of Spa is actually going on?
Oh, I think it's just a beautiful thing to be having double Spa in one day. Spa is my favorite, always has been, and I love that we're getting the realistic nature of it with all this wet downpour. And what we heard earlier before the broadcast from Brigsby, he had no idea that 24 hours of Spa was going on this weekend, or that Formula One was going to be at the Red Bull Ring this weekend. So we're getting just double of everything this weekend. If you're a motorsport fan, tuning in here at BHRL is definitely a must, just so you can get some double doses.
Yep, and they do say art imitates life, do they not?
I've heard that.
All right. Well, then let's see if we have a work of art on track as we get qualifying underway. Now, since this is the finals, we should throw out that the winner for the season will be based on overall points. It doesn't matter how you did the last few races, you still made it to the finals. So, it's based on your overall points throughout the season, and that will dictate if you get one of the prizes or you don't. Either way, let's take a look as we see Tatooine coming out of the box first. Coming up through Eau Rouge and Radion with some very aggressive rain, I should throw out. Yeah, this is definitely realistic. All we need is some bolts of lightning on the side, and then it'll be a 1-to-1. And as we see, the blue bar is starting to fill up on his car. This is going to be a qualifying to take with a huge grain of salt, because being good in wet weather, I don't know anybody that is definitely different than being good on a dry surface. And looks like this will be a majority rain race. And yeah, but as Tatooine comes through Brussels, holding it quite nicely. Not running too wide, not letting the car get away from him. Traction control is definitely on. And with weather like this, it needs to be on. Yeah, this is going to be very tricky for the drivers, and I do not envy any of them having to do 15 laps in the absolutely dumping rain. What about you, TKs?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky, especially a track like Spa. You really, in the dry, you abuse these curbs. You are on the curbs at entry, exit, apex, the whole way through. And when it's wet like this, those curbs are just so slippery. So you got to be extra careful. We're going to see plenty of drivers using traction control. I don't blame them. You can see those big puddles on the side of the track that if you hit, it's going to be really easy to lose stability. I did notice we have one driver, J-Dog, on the intermediate tires, which are a bit quicker if you can keep the car pointed in the right direction. So everybody else on the wet, J-Dog on the inners. Let's see if that makes a difference in overall lap time.
Yeah, that's going to be the million-dollar question, but I also do know those intermediates really don't do you any favors once the upper third of that bar is starting to get filled, because it'll give you some grip in the wet, but it really just pretends like it doesn't exist once you get into heavy wet territory. But I mean, Mullet, you probably have a better understanding of the tires. Ooh, Tatooine getting a little squirrely, but now is ready to start the hot lap. But yeah, Mullet, do you think jumping on the intermediates for something like this is a wise call?
It depends on how the rain is going to react later on. Maybe he's on the intermediates because he knows that line's going to pop below the third line or the blue area of the track. And if that's the case, then the intermediates will be the faster tire. And looking at the rate of speed and the settings, I mean, it might be, but we only have, 5 minutes of qualifying?
Yeah, that was a 2.5 minute out lap, so these drivers are really only going to get one lap in, is what it's looking like. So It should be interesting. But what you were saying, Mullet, with it's just right there on the line of entering into that full wet territory. So I think if you're a driver that has good control in the wet, you can get away with intermediates, but a lot of us would feel more comfortable on the wets.
As we jump on over towards Wambuki, let's see how he is faring. About a minute into the hot lap with the very BHRL out car. I mean, it's creative.
A busy BHRL car.
Yeah, very busy BHRL. It's a whole nest right there. But yeah, it's looking like they're only going to really get one out lap, and qualifying in the wet is just, I don't know. That's not something I've seen. So, don't know quite how to feel about it. What about you guys?
I don't mind it. Really, right now, I'm looking to see if anybody is using the quote-unquote wet line. And it seems at the moment everybody's just doing the regular old racing line. And Like it's just like any type of time trial. If you're on equal settings, you're good. It's just it's got its own level of difficulty to it because you can't just push the way you want. You're kind of just driving the car in a sense and hoping you're not pushing it too hard because just one over push could mean you're spinning out.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And also, TKC, you mentioned how Spa is one of those circuits where you abuse the curves. Since it's going to be raining for 75% of this race, I don't know if those curves are ever going to dry up enough for the drivers to actually use the full width of the track. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. Now, if they as it's drying out, start abusing the curbs with the intermediate tires, that would help for when or if they switch on to slicks. Um, but yeah, I still think the curbs are going to be a gamble every time uh, going through here, especially if they do switch over to the slick tires. And you can even see here most of these laps, you'll see them touching the curbs, but when it's dry, your half your car is on those curbs versus maybe just tapping them. So we'll see how quickly it dries out. It could be that it dries up a lot quicker, and they're able to do that, or it could be that they think they can, and then that ruins somebody's race. So only time will tell.
Very astute insight, greatly appreciated. Yeah, you actually brought up a good point. The potential for other drivers being a bit of collateral damage is actually very high. But
Hmm.
let's quickly gloss over the qualifying results, shall we? So, taking P1 will be BHR Wambuki with a personal fastest lap of 2:49.199, followed by Johnny Boy about 8 tenths behind him. J Dog rounding out the top three for the starting grid with a 2:50.605. Followed by BHR Tatooine 7, Jack Skellington, and Beavis rounding out our starting grid. And something just occurred to me. It's going to be pouring the rain, and they got to do a grid start with a false start check.
Get that TC on. Yeah, you're gonna have to have it on.
Gotta
Oh,
be very
yeah.
delicate on the throttle. Gotta be
Yes,
delicate.
and it is interesting to note. So J Dog was on the intermediates. So J Dog knows that they're quicker than three other drivers that were on the wets. So that's going to be encouraging for them to know that on a slightly slicker tire, they were able to get through it in those conditions on the intermediates.
Yeah, that is probably a good boost of confidence. But will J Dog be starting on the intermediates? Because, I mean, you set a good time on the intermediates. Sure, everybody else is on the wets. Fair enough. But since this is the actual race and not qualifying, would it be wise to do that, or would it be wise to start on the safer tire, which would be the wets?
Yeah, it's going to be tough because I'm looking at the radar right now, and you got some spots with very little rain, and then some really huge heavy rain clusters that come in throughout. So it may be safer to be on the wets the whole time and then hope that you can switch over to some slicks at the end. I think it's just going to be driver's preference, really.
Okay. Yeah, one thing that kind of irks me about the weather radar, though, is it shows you what happened before and doesn't show you, like, okay, well, for this long, it's going to be cloudy, then sunny. Oh, a little drizzle of rain, but it won't last long. You can't make an informed decision. It's just saying, hey, this is what happened earlier. Come on, PD.
Yeah. We know well, we know how realistic the predictions in real life are as well. Um, Half the time what you're seeing isn't actually what happens anyway. So,
Very
um,
true.
who knows? It would be nice if we could predict the future, but only this silly video game knows the future.
I know
Yep,
going
that.
off of qualifying, the track did dip under the third line,
Mm-hmm.
and J-Dog was moving slightly quicker through the last sector and the last chicane than the drivers in front of him. If he does go for the intermediates at the start, it looks like by lap 2, lap 3, that's when his advantage is going to start kicking in. He's just going to have to be very careful on the first couple of laps.
He's also going to have to be very careful heading towards Bruxelles, Eau Rouge, like any of the downhill portions, because that'll pile the water. So,
and that's really where you feel the difference in between the wets and intermediates isn't necessarily under acceleration. It's under braking, and when you hit the brakes at high speed and you just keep going straight, it's very unnerving, and you're just kind of waiting and hoping for there to be some kind of grip.
you're right. But as we wait for these lights to come on in some less than favorable conditions, it's going to be very tricky. Will anybody jump the line? Does not look like it, and they are very, very gingerly away. There we go. They are now heading in towards La Source and getting a little squirrely from J-Dog on those intermediates. And looks like Johnny Boy was able to overtake on the outside. J-Dog getting a little squirrely yet again. So Eau Rouge and Radion is going to be very interesting to see, and probably a I need to find someone that'll listen moment for J-Dog. As they go up, will anybody violate track limits? No, does not appear to be the case. Wambuki revving the absolute daylights out of third gear and fourth gear in, what is that, the Porsche? In the
J-Dog's
Porsche
making the move.
Yep, J-Dog did make the move and has the inside line coming into Lacombe, but Wambuki ends up back in front. Let's see how, very, very squirrely. Cold tires, cold track, J-Dog running a little bit wide, heading in towards Bruxelles. Will he get a penalty for it? Does not appear to be the case at the moment. Too wide through Bruxelles with Johnny Boy and J-Dog. J-Dog falling back a little bit into third place, but there's still 15 laps of this to go, so it's...
Tatooi's pushing on him, trying to get around J-Dog. And he gets it, on the exit. So Tatooi and Beavis are on the wets. Everybody else is on the intermediates, and Tatooi is making those wet tires work for him, able to abuse the curbs a little bit more and getting that little extra grip. But I think that is going to hurt him in the long run, like we were talking about, as the track starts to dry up. But they're able to take a lot more curb than the other drivers on the intermediates. But now J-Dog is pushing back on Tatooi, trying to get that place back.
Well, let's jump our camera over and keep an eye on that battle for a moment. Alright, so here we have Tatooi just ahead of J-Dog for the time being. Looks like J-Dog will have Tatooi in terms of straight line speed. So it's coin toss on who's going to get into P3 before Blanchimont. At the moment, it's looking like Tatooi, but J-Dog is also closing that gap pretty quickly. Given these conditions, I definitely would not want to try and outbrake somebody going into the chicane, because it's relatively easy to outbrake yourself to start with, and being in the wet, not something I'd want to roll the dice on. It looks like we've got all of our drivers holding on quite nicely. No real drama happening. Too wide by Tatooi and J-Dog coming into La Source. Will J-Dog be able to get P3? He will, but will he be able to hold on to it? And
going to be hard to get traction on the exit. There you go. Yes, very nice.
Tatooi got a little slowly on the exit, unfortunately, but didn't lose really any time for it. So as long as they play the cards right and, don't do anything too reckless, it should be a rather safe race. Now, Mullet, you've done some pretty tricky races in your time playing GT. Where would you rank this race in terms of difficulty? Ooh, J-Dog coming up the inside through the Kemmel Straight and gets it to stick, heading up into Lacombe. Oh, and it looks like Tatooi's...
Wow. Oh my God. Johnny Boy around the outside, later on the brakes. then J-Dog had to worry about Tatooine diving up the inside and it compromised him. But good on Johnny Boy. I mean, they were super late, super brave on the racing line, and were able to get it done before the second part of the chicane.
I think in terms of difficulty, the start of this looks pretty hard to manage. But if it dries out, like you're saying, it's it's fairly intermediate. I think J-Dog's starting to learn what the wet line is, because what's happening to him is he's braking where he thinks he needs to brake, but there's just a bit more grip in the middle of the track, and he's braking too much and allowing people to just go right on the outside of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you nailed it right there, Mullet. That is exactly what's happening. And because I mean, it was like watching Lando Norris put that lunge on Max Verstappen this morning. What Johnny Boy just did to J-Dog. He didn't think it was going to happen, and then out of nowhere, they're just in front.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Honestly, so as you were mentioning, J-Dog is kind of finding the wet line. Do you think whenever the track actually starts to dry out, we'll see some drivers starting to favor the curb a little bit to try and preserve any life on those tires?
Yeah, you'll see them start to go over a little into the wet, just to avoid some tire wear on the straights. But in the corners, they're going to try to take whatever's the quickest line through the corners, I think.
What are your thoughts, Mullet?
Well, once the dry line starts, you want to be on the dry line no matter what tire you're on, but you want to use the wets to cool down your tires so the life stays in it the longest. I would say avoid the curbs at all costs in the wet, because it turns into ice. You don't really want to be on the curbs no matter what.
There's some really tight racing there between Tatooine and J-Dog going into turn one. And it is crazy. J-Dog seems to be willing to go on the curbs a little bit more than some of the other drivers from what I'm noticing. Taking a little bit of a gamble, but it's starting to pay off as now he gets a great run on Johnny Boy coming up the hill. And he's going to get the move done. But we'll see, as J-Dog figured out his braking point, are Tatooine and Johnny Boy going to be able to do late lunges like they did last time?
I think one of the other really important questions is how much are they going to...
Tatooine outbrakes himself.
One of the big questions, though, is how much are they going to do this game of cat and mouse with each other before they try and cooperate at least somewhat to catch up to Wambuki? Because Wambuki's already pulled a 6-second gap while we've had many changes in position for P2, 3, and 4.
It's going to be hard to say because the idea would be to try to stay as close as you can, and then once it's dry, then you can really make your racing moves. But you could argue if you can just get by that driver ahead of you, you might be able to start pulling away as well. But it's really hard when you're in the moment and you're battling with two other drivers. It's really hard to just let it go and work together, especially when it's the finals. All the points are on the line. And it really is close, as Jack Skellington is putting the moves on Johnny Boy now, going up the inside. So it's really tight. I think Wambuki has run away, and the battle for second is, I mean, within not even a second of each other. Because Beavis is all over the back of Jack Skellington. So it is super, super tight back there. And somebody's run wide. That's Tatooine running wide, having to slow down. And that's going to allow Tatooine by.
Yeah, it looks like, well, the back of the grid's still very bunched up, and really, I thought with all the rain and everything, it'd be a little more spread out, but I'm also seeing cars that you really wouldn't expect to, perform well. This Corvette that we're following, for example, it's holding up quite nicely in the rain, and Jack's able to hold on to P5 and also be within earshot of the podium to make an overtake should somebody outbrake themselves or run extremely wide again. But I guess this is a good time to kick it over to our Corvette specialist in Mullet, and he can probably explain what some of the strong suits for the Corvette are on this track.
This is one of the worst tracks for the Vet.
All right, thank you, Mullet.
It just doesn't suit its 6th gear well. So you're not really getting any advantages. You're just kind of very mid in this track in the Vet, and it's not really that great in the rain. But Jack's doing a really good job. I see him starting to use the middle of the track for his braking, and you can see that he just has a bit more grip. And there is a dry line starting to form as well. And on top of that, I'm noticing that J-Dog is the fastest car on track at the moment. He's taking chunks out of Warm Boogie. And yeah, he was a whole second faster the lap before.
Yeah, he finally got some clear air and allowed Johnny Boy and Tatooine to fight each other, and he's been able to do what Wambuki's been doing and pull away a bit from the pack. This battle between Johnny Boy and Tatooine is really good. They've been swapping positions back and forth, and they're in the same car, so neither has really much of an advantage over each other, except for Johnny Boy is on the intermediates and Tatooine is on the wets.
Yeah, after Jack gets by Tatooine, it's going to look like the wet runners are going to be in 6th and 5th.
Okay, so the intermediates are starting to show a little bit of their pace, and wow, the track's actually drying out a little faster than I imagined. So yeah, I guess the intermediate drivers will be able to start pulling away here soon. But since it is also wet, overtaking would probably be best done with quite a bit of caution, because, well, there's the dry line starting to form, if English ever catches up with me, and we've also got drivers on the wet. We've got just, I don't know, I do recall seeing some races where being on the dry line and trying to move over into the wet line to do an overtake doesn't exactly go as well as one might hope.
Yeah, so you have to be super prepared for the change. It's going to be a drastic change from the dry to wet line, and that can catch drivers out because they're thinking brake here, turn in here, and then when you switch over to that other line, it's not the same. And so you can either see somebody brake too early and lose the position, or what more often than not happens, brake too late and not be able to make the corner. So it's all about the driver, how prepared they are for the change in conditions. And we actually saw this, if you follow Formula One, a couple weeks ago in Montreal. The Haas driver started on the wets while everybody else started on the intermediates. And I believe it was Kevin Magnussen. He gained like 10 positions on the opening lap, just because he had that much more grip. But after 3 laps, the track started to dry, and he immediately fell back. So it is a gamble. You can get track position, but typically the intermediates are going to be your better tire if you can survive them in the harsher wets at the beginning.
Okay, now as the track starts to dry out, is there an increased potential for spinning out since there's that dry and wet line, or is it actually safer as we see? Ooh, very wide.
That was scary.
Now that's concrete over there, right? It's not gravel in this one.
It's painted concrete. It's slick. Any of the concrete that's green or yellow or red or a color other than asphalt color, it is extremely slippery. So when you get out wide like that, it's crucial to keep the steering wheel pointed straight and do as minimal inputs as you can until you're able to get back on the track.
All right, and while we were rambling on, looks like Jack is able to take P4. So, looks like Jack just has to carry the momentum and is actually starting to close some of the gap to Johnny Boy. which means Jack might be in a fight for podium position here soon, but, oh, and Tatooi's setting it up the inside, little door-to-door, nothing major, and Tatooi walks away with P4 for now. Looks like Tatooi is also sitting on the wet line, Jack on the... Oh, no, that's the dry line, never mind. I has playing tricks on me, my bad. Coming to the source. Oh, sorry.
While that's happening, J-Dog is running almost 3 seconds faster than Warm Bookie. He's cut the gap down to 2.3 seconds and closing.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to catch him by the end of this lap. I've been watching him as well. He gets over on every single straight. He moves over to the wet line, cool off his tires until he gets back into the braking zones, and then he hops back on that dry line. And it seems to be working for him as he's pushing closer and closer to Wambuki.
Well, actually, speaking of jumping on the wet line, what was it, last year? I think it was iRacing had to put in some sort of rule about people, like, intentionally going on a wetter line or going onto the grass to cool down their tires for a minute. I think it was, like, called grass dipping or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like it's a viable thing. It gives you a little extra life in your tires, but I guess it became like that much of a problem because everybody was doing it, and they showed clips of it happening on the iRacing version of Spa. Big surprise. So
yeah, and that's something you really would only see in a video game because it's too much of a risk to dip your wheels into the grass, so it must be an issue with the way they have it set up as far as the grip level on wet grass that allows you to maintain control of your vehicle and cool down the tires, because otherwise that is a huge gamble, and I doubt you would see that much in real life, let alone some of the other racing games out there.
Right, yeah, I gotcha. J-Dog definitely has closed that gap quite substantially, and also looks like J-Dog's about at a quarter of a tank of fuel, so we might see some pit stops coming in the near future, so I wonder how that's going to shake up the grid a little bit.
Yeah, I think so, because if you look at the meter on how wet it is, as Tatooi goes off into the chicane, it spins out. Oh my goodness, Tatooi did not get through that final chicane well, but the track is drying out. If you're on the racing line, you can get away with slicks now. Now the curbs are still really wet, and not on the racing line is really wet, but the racing line is dry enough for slicks. So I think with the fuel rate going down, we might see some drivers pit and make that jump, depending on what the weather radar is looking like.
I gotcha. J-Dog getting quite swirly heading into Lacombe. Already having a half-second penalty. Definitely don't need to add insult to injury, but should also make note that J-Dog is trying to get this gap to under 2 seconds. And if J-Dog plays his cards right, he might be able to, but it won't last long because of that half-second penalty. Getting a little bit of drifting, and J-Dog spins out!
Oh no. Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with Tatooi either. He's got no grip left on his rear tires. So I don't know what's happened, but he absolutely has no grip out there. Let's go take a look. And then that spin by J-Dog, he was doing so well gaining on Wambuki to lose it right there, but he still has a really good lead on Johnny Boy. So his P2 is safe, but the chances of a first place are looking grim. But still got half a race left, and if they are able to go on to slicks, who knows? We don't know who's fastest on a dry track.
That's very true, and looks like we've got a little battle for P4 right now between Beavis and Jack Skellington. One thing I do want to ask is, how on earth did Tatooi's tires fall off that quickly?
I can't figure it out. He did have a spin, but unless he was just sliding in every turn, I don't know how it happened. It is baffling. considering the other driver on wets has plenty of grip left, and we're seeing the drivers go into the pits. Curious to see what tire they come out on. Mullet, what do you think? Are they coming out on slicks, or are we seeing another stint on inters?
I think it's time to see the slicks. Don't think that they need to worry about the rain much more. The track is starting to dry out. You just got to be careful for a couple of laps until it dries completely out.
Especially in the pit exit, that hasn't been dried out at all.
Yeah, they need to be very, very careful.
So Johnny Boy's going to need to have one heck of an in lap, as he is still on the intermediates, and Beavis as well on the wets. They can put in a solid lap, and the others on slicks struggle. They might be able to jump some positions on their overcut.
I could definitely see that. So, Mullet, you probably saw Tatooi's tires as well. What on earth do you think happened?
He might not have been cooling. Maybe he's on a controller. There's a couple of things for that.
Okay, I gotcha.
Plus, he was on the wets, and the wets just burn out way faster than the intermediates. And with 10 times tire wear for the race combo, you're essentially doing 10 turns every time you take a turn. So it really isn't that surprising to me to see his tires that dead on the wets, especially if he's on a controller.
Interesting. I never thought of it like that. That's a really good way to look at it. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's not looking well. I just saw Wambuki make a little excursion off the track as he's trying to catch up with Beavis and Johnny Boy as they're trying to finish their final stints.
Yeah, everybody that came out of the pits took softs except for J-Dog. J-Dog's on the medium tire.
So, like you were saying with that tire wear, maybe he's going to have a little bit more grip at the end of this race than the others on the softs if he can keep it close.
Looks like Johnny Boy tried to cool the tires a little bit, but wound off going a little bit off the beaten path. Looks like that will also afford Beavis the opportunity to catch up, but I don't know how much good that's going to do them, because it's time to get into the box, and a little bit of drifting from Johnny Boy coming into Blanchimont. All right, and Beavis kisses the wall.
Keep it straight, keep it straight. That's one of the hardest things to do, is once you get in off, is to keep that car pointed in the right direction. Can save you a lot of time. And Wambuki is coming up to the final chicane now, so he's definitely going to get past him. Oh, and it's even worse for Beavis as he ends up in the grass. But now he's got it in the pit lane, and it looks like Wambuki's going to take first place back.
That does appear to be the case, yes. And since J-Dog is on the mediums, I think I might have an idea of the thought process, just because depending on the circuit, the difference between the softs and the mediums can be described as negligible, but I don't know if Spa is one of those tracks.
I think it depends on the drive. Like, for the best drivers, yeah, it makes a big difference. Softs, mediums, hard. But for a lot of us, it's not that much of a difference. Oh no. No fuel for Beavis. Oh, they're not even going to make it back around. That is an unfortunate error for Beavis. They had just had that terrible excursion trying to get into the pits, and now they're going to have a very long lap around Spa.
Yeah, that might have just knocked Beavis out of the race.
Yeah, it went from fail to GG's to dang. Might as well just park it at this point.
And Tatooi's going to be able to do something, though, as they had their horrendous lap or two.
And Johnny Boy flying out going into Lacombe. Sorry about that, TK.
And no worries. I wonder if did he touch the curb? Because that would be my guess with being on the slicks and it still being as wet as it is.
Yeah,
trying to go flat out.
Yeah, it looks like Johnny Boy just got on the wet line. That cost him.
And Wambuki just did the same thing. Wambuki just hit the curb and is now facing the wrong direction. Oh man.
Over on the, oh, there he is.
There he goes.
Leo, we
These
see it on
curves are
TV,
dangerous, and now J-Dog. Oh, and he's around again. Oh no. Oh no.
Leo,
These
get off
changing
TV cam. We need to see
conditions.
this.
These changing conditions are catching the drivers out. It is unbelievable how you can think you have a race figured out, and it all unwinds right there.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit heartbreaking to see, especially because we are at what almost the 2/3 of the way mark on this race. I mean, it's still anybody's game, but I don't know. That can just be pretty demoralizing, and I know a lot of drivers would probably just back out if this was a regular lobby or probably even a daily race because, ooh. Stay off the curbs, Wambuki! What are you doing, man?
But one of the things you're seeing is everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's spinning out. So if you can just finish, you have a chance in this race. Even all the way back to Beavis and Tattooey, you have a chance. Everybody's spinning, everybody's losing it. Do your best to keep it pointed in the right direction, and you got a chance of winning this thing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I get that. Also, it has just also dawned on me, we're on the regular Spa-Francorchamps layout and not the 24 layout, so the pit exit is right after La Source and before Eau Rouge and Radion, but was that a wise layout for this, especially given all of the rain?
I think so, because you have a shorter pit exit. You can hop on the dry line way sooner, whereas the 24 line, you're on that narrow road that's sopping wet for quite a while before you get back on the track. So for me, in these conditions, I would definitely prefer this layout from a driver's perspective.
Okay, yeah, that does. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you agree with that, Mullet?
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Because I think we see that the most at like Le Mans, right? When you come out on the pit exit and you spin immediately because it's still sopping wet. Whereas here on this layout, the pit exit's tiny. It's a car length, and then you can hop over to the dry line.
Yeah, and on the 24-hour layout, the rain just kind of sits in the pit lane like forever. It just sits there. It doesn't do anything. It just sits. It's like it's home.
We're seeing some clear skies out there.
Oh yeah, that we are. Should also throw out that the pit lane for Suzuka stays wet no matter what you do.
Yes. This is a silly game we play.
J-Dog spun out. J-Dog spun out.
Oh no.
J-Dog spun out.
Keep it pointing in the right direction. Now it's not all over for Wambuki. As Wambuki is coming, he's going to get the move. He's going to get it done before turn 1. And there we go, another lead change. And Jack isn't too far off. He's going through the final chicane right now. So, once again, keep it pointed in the right direction. You got a chance.
Well, you did state that getting the car pointed in the right direction, keeping it pointed in the right direction is one of the hardest things. What do you do to make sure the car is going where you want it to?
As little as possible. The big adjustments, hitting the brake hard, hitting the gas hard, counter steering too hard. Kind of when I start to go off the track and it's wet, I almost just lock up and just very minimal adjustments that just try to not upset the car until you're able to get back somewhere where there's traction.
All right. What about you, Mullet? What do you do?
Send it!
Full send.
No assist. No assist. That's not fun. No assist. Just send it.
Well, you say no assist, but I guarantee you're running ABS.
Ah, you got me.
Yeah, you got me.
So you literally just send it if you're somewhere where you might spin out or you've got no grip.
I think that's one of my greatest strengths and my biggest weakness. I get to the limit and I try to stay there as much as possible, no matter what.
When it works out, it's a beautiful thing. And when it doesn't, well, you just try again next time.
You guys heard it here. One of the fastest drivers playing GT. The trick is just to send it.
Trust your instincts.
Yeah, I tried that and I turned myself into a spinning roadblock, so I don't know about that one, Jack.
See, everybody's instincts are different. Because my instincts are to not move and try to hold it together. His instincts, full send, gotta trust him.
Yeah? But if your instincts do betray you, you might want to take a look at what some of the other drivers are doing.
Yeah, some people have bad instincts. It's just part of life.
Yeah. Because we've got two radically different methodologies here. But,
And we got two different level drivers. Mullet is definitely a much quicker driver than myself. So he's definitely doing something that I'm not. We're getting a good battle between Tatooine and Beavis right now. In the back, battle for #NotLast. And it's looking really nice.
Beavis was able to get some fuel, thank God, so there's that. And looks like Beavis might be playing it a little safe right now. Ooh, as Tatooine spins and gets knocked around like a Beyblade. That is definitely going to cost him. But the question is, there's no damage, so maybe there wasn't any contact?
No, it looks like he just completely spun and kept spinning as Beavis went by. I didn't quite see any contact. Yeah, J-Dog's trying to close that gap between Wambuki, but I don't know. It might be too late unless we get another mistake here.
Now that you brought that up, I'm looking at the tire wear. I think Wambuki is going to be stuck on dead tires for at least a lap and a half. Like, that left side is going down quickly, and J-Dog's tires look very fine. Also in the McLaren, I don't think this race is over. I don't think it's over.
No, yeah, you're right. Those tires are really worn, and I thought it was a difference between soft and mediums, but Jack's on the softs as well, and his tire wear is looking better than J-Dog. So I think those spin-outs that Wambuki had did a lot of damage on those rear tires.
Yeah, also the settings, I know I brought this up, but at 10 times, and the way that the tire wear works, where it just progressively gets worse the more it's worn, that's Skellington's back there with a drier track in sense. It's just he's just got the advantage overall.
Yeah, he really does. I'm seeing that right now, and if he can put his head down and bang out some quick laps here, he could have a chance. But Wambuki's pace is pretty incredible. He just did a 2.22, way quicker than anybody else out there. J-Dog's fastest lap was a 2.24. So even with the worn tires, Wambuki's been able to put in a bit of a gap.
Looks like J-Dog picked up a penalty, though, probably coming out of Radion. So I don't know if this will be the lap where... J-Dog lifting it out of Lacombe.
Don't touch the green stuff. It'll get you. I say it all the time.
I honestly thought the green stuff up there was like AstroTurf or something.
It is, and it's slippery. It is very slippery.
Why you put AstroTurf on a circuit?
Usually green stuff is good, but not in this case.
Yeah. In my experience, it's been fantastic, but not in this game.
In my experience, I'm allergic.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yep.
Yeah, they do the AstroTurf here too, and they also do it at Suzuka. And it's really intense at Suzuka. They got huge patches of that stuff, and it'll suck your car just off the track. I guess it's an alternative, maybe a little bit less harsh of a penalty than gravel, but harsher than concrete to discourage drivers from abusing track limits.
Yeah, that's probably it. I don't know, some decisions for circuits have me raise an eyebrow, like the AstroTurf, or what was it? Watkins Glen added extra curbing or they added like higher curbing to the bus stop. Was it?
It's just to discourage, because drivers are always going to find the fastest line. That's what they're going to do, and so if the curbs or the gravel or if it's not a deterrent, if it's not going to slow you down, the drivers are going to use it. So you got to do something to slow them down, and we saw it this weekend. Formula One is at Red Bull Ring, and they added little gravel traps on the final 2 turns because drivers were abusing track limits, and it's worked perfectly. One driver hit it yesterday and completely spun out, just dipping one tire into the gravel. The other drivers had slowed them down enough that they're not getting an advantage, and it just keeps the drivers in check.
Ooh, Tatui with a 1-second penalty. That is very unfortunate. And also, it looks like Tatui's rear tires are definitely getting ready to give up the ghost.
J-Dog gained 1.5 seconds on Wambuki, and Wambuki has lost his left rear.
Yep, 2 laps left. J-Dog with a 0.5 second penalty, but definitely putting in the pace now to make something happen. We could get a really nice final lap here.
We definitely could. But what do you think is going through J-Dog's mind as he's coming through Blanchimont up towards the chicane and has to serve a 0.5 second penalty on the final lap? Because that's just, if I were in J-Dog's shoes, that's telling me, or I'm sorry, I thought he was heading toward Blanchimont. He was over in campus. I'm terribly sorry about that. But that's going to be telling me that time is not on my side, so I'd have to start getting a little brave if I want to reap all of the points I can for this final race. What about you, TK?
Yeah, and luckily he serves the penalty at the end of the lap. So he has an opportunity here, be a little later on the brakes, catch up here into the final chicane, and then be able to get into the slipstream after going up Eau Rouge. Because if the penalty had been on the other side, I think that would have been race over. But he's got plenty of opportunity, a full lap here, no penalties, 1.5 seconds behind. I think something can happen.
Okay.
I can see the TCS working so hard. He has no grip on corner exit for Wambuki.
Yeah, Wambuki's just got to be just praying that he's going to make it to the end.
This race was 1 lap too long for him.
If depending on what camera view he's in, he's got a rear view mirror full of McLaren, and now he's got a window full of McLaren, and now he's got a windshield full of McLaren.
Yep, it's McLaren all over Wambuki, and yeah, I think Wambuki's probably one of the only drivers that will be saying if this race was only a lap shorter. Because normally with daily races you hear, if this race was 1 lap longer or anything like that, it'd be even better. But Wambuki is probably sitting there like, if this race was 1 lap shorter, this would have been amazing.
Yeah, just 4 corners. J-Dog has gained 1.25 seconds over him, and it's just going to continue to happen because he's just got no grip. He's doing a really good job of bringing this home, though. Still looking solid. Anything can happen.
Yeah, if he can keep it pointed, he'll be okay. Otherwise, I mean, Jack's 36 seconds behind, but Jack's got plenty of grip. So I think if Wambuki can just keep it pointed, he's going to be okay for P2.
I'm keeping a very close eye on Wambuki right now because his driving's got me a little nervous. He's about to be on only one good tire, pretty much no fuel, being really squirrely. Curbs are still wet, and I'd be borderline soiling myself if I was in this position. It's almost as unfavorable as it can be without heavy damage. Is J-Dog gonna have enough fuel to get across the line?
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
He's
All
gonna
right.
make it. He's gonna make it. And Tattooi's in the same boat as Wambuki is, with absolutely no grip there, as J-Dog crosses the line in style.
It looks like Wambuki was trying to do a bit of a recreation on that, but looks like Jack's going to be able to sit pretty comfortably coming across the line. Got 13 seconds of a lead between himself and Johnny Boy, so yeah, P3 is all Jack's. Congratulations on the podium, bud.
Absolutely, and Jack really just kept his composure there in the second half of that race. He slotted into third place and just kind of, it seemed like he was driving a bit more of a conservative race, more worried about holding on to that P3 than maybe attacking up for P2. Excellent job.
Yeah. Ooh, and Johnny Boy's back tires. I'm starting to think that Porsche is just horrible on its rear tire.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely
The motor
not
sits
the best.
right on top of it, yeah. Or I guess kind of right behind it, almost.
Well,
in those cars.
Is the GT3 Porsche listed as an MR or an RR?
Yeah, they're all technically listed as MRs, but I think the Porsche's motor is set back the furthest of all of them.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Aren't there a couple cars in GT that are actually listed as rear, like the Beetle?
Is it? Okay.
At least the 60s Beetle is rear, I believe.
Well, and the 60s Beetle is just a stripped down Porsche, so essentially the same, even though they have it listed slightly differently. All the Porsche fanatics are going to come out and be like, "No, it's not.
Well,
it's
and
not."
Looks like
But we
Tattooi's
all
out of
know
fuel.
that it is.
Tattooi ran out of fuel and ran out of time. But congratulations on the race victory to J-Dog. Going over the provisional result, we have J-Dog taking the race victory, but not fastest lap. Fastest lap goes to Beavis over in P5 with a 221.249.
Wow, well done.
Yeah, that's over a second off of the second fastest. Actually, no. Tattooi was about 4/10. Well, no, I am not mathing right. 6/10
and 4/10 faster.
There we go.
Thank you. There we go.
Welcome.
Math showed up at some point to play. Love me too. Now, anyway, J-Dog takes the victory, followed by Wambuki, Jack Skellington rounding out our podium, followed by BHR Johnny Boy, Beavis running out of top 5, and rounding out our racers for this final is Tattooi. Well done to all of the drivers for making it this far. It was definitely an uphill battle of a race, and guess we're just going to get ready for the Division 1 race to get set up. Oh.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm chilling.
Great, chilling. Got my Skittles. I'm ready to go.
I was paying attention to Jack over there in the Corvette.
Yeah, I'm busy watching the 24 Hours of Spa where they've been under a safety car for like an hour and a half.
I did see Viking King Gaming with a $2 donation. Thank you, Viking King.
Yeah, thank you very much for the donation. That will definitely go into the prize pool for the drivers and definitely make the victory all the more sweeter.
Oh, and Leo, quick reminder to save the replay.
Yeah, save the replay.
Yeah,
Infinite
GG's to
Sword.
J-Dog, GG's to Wambuki, and GG's to Jack.
That was a
Yeah.
excellent race. I'm really impressed with Jack on that one. I think he did a solid job and just ran his own race and did a great job of it.
Well, whenever you
Yeah, I
pick
agree
the
with that.
Corvette, you're automatically the driver of the day. This is how it goes. But no, overall, I'm more impressed with J-Dog. I think J-Dog adapted the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the fastest on track. He is the only one that took mediums.
Mm-hmm.
J-Dog, he did really, really well.
And he did the quali on the intermediates. So he also ran his own race and he did adapt really well. That was some good driving, and it was super clean driving all around. Any of the contact that was made, there was a little bit, but it wasn't malicious. It wasn't out of order. It was part of the racing, and we got to see some really good wheel to wheel, 3 wide at some points. We got to see people be ultra brave in the wet on the brakes, and then we got to see everybody spin out at some point. So we got a little bit of everything. Oh yeah,
You
you're right.
spin my head right round when you're
Wait, was
going
Jack really?
soft.
Was
You're right. I
Jack
don't
really
think
the only
Jack
one
J
to not spin?
been. Yeah. So
Huh, how about that?
yeah, I don't think the Corvette was the strongest car in these conditions at this track, but he made it work.
It might have been the safest car, honestly.
It's
Yeah,
the only car in the game. Any other cars all fake.
if
I don't know. My drivers of the day for your series yesterday were the ones that were doing seaside, and those Aston drivers were absolutely killing it. True Serum and Philo, I think it was. Yeah, those two in the Vantages, that was just awesome to see. Also, hello Wambuki.
Hello, how are we all doing?
Yeah,
We're
not bad.
good.
How are you doing after that race?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. I was obviously a little bit wounded that I my tire choice cost me the win, but I super happy for J Dog. Like absolutely, he's quick as anything. That dude, he really is.
All right. So first question: what was it like qualifying in the wet?
I have had the most fun doing that in my entire life because trying to keep the back end under control, even with traction control, is like its own mini game within the game itself. So I had an absolute blast doing that. That was something fun.
Oh, that's definitely not the answer I expected. But
Yeah, I know it. We're probably not right.
no, I thought you were going to be saying, fuck you, Brigsby."
Do
But
you
you
know?
know what?
No. We've as much as everyone has. I've thoroughly enjoyed every race this season. Brigsby's done so well with the whole thing. And the last race was supposed to be a challenge anyway. It was supposed to test us, and that's definitely what it did.
Yeah, I completely get that. TK, do you have any questions for our P2 driver for the day?
Yeah, I mean, what all sorts of emotions must have been happening. Um, did you feel like your race was over when you had those little handful of spins after switching to the softs, or did you think you could still put in a good fight?
At first, because I'm very quick to to assumptions. So at first, I thought, nah, the race is over. Like I'm probably gonna have to recover, like just like a P2 or a P3 or something. Um, and I think it was only and purely only because J Dog like spun a little bit on just before T1 that I managed to
Mm-hmm.
get past him. If that hadn't happened, I thoroughly believe J Dog would have held the lead like throughout the entire thing because he's just so quick.
Well, I mean, you did a great job in sticking with it and putting up that fight, and it came down to one lap too long on those softs for you, but you did an incredible job, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been fun doing this. So yeah, thoroughly thank you.
Alrighty, Mullet, any questions from you?
Yeah. What actually did happen on that spin? I missed it, and I'm just curious what your thoughts were on the spin.
So I think it was I either went on the slicks. I think my back tire just either touched the curb or I went slightly too much into the wet line. Which at that time the wet line was still, spinning you out if all you did was touch a pixel of it. So I'm not 100 myself, but I think just too much away from the dry line was what sent me off there. And then I actually spun twice. So when I got back on track, I put my foot down because I was too eager, and then just spun it again. So I got a little frustrated.
Yeah. Well, other than that, you did really good. So congratulations on your P2.
Thank you so much.
Yep, congratulations indeed, and pretty sure you still have a fairly solid point spread, so I wouldn't worry too much about this second place, because I mean, first off, gave it everything you had, and you did some amazing racing for your troubles. So
Thank you.
yeah, I guess just well done, and hopefully you can rest and relax for the Division 1 race, and great showing from you this season.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna do. Go make a coffee, enjoy Division 1, and yeah. But yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate this. Super happy. Congratulations to all the other drivers as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers, bud.
See you later.
Now let's go.
Bye bye.
Let's go and have a word with our P3 finisher and Jack Skellington. Jack, how are you doing?
Oh, I believe he is
After he
still
unmutes.
muted. Yep.
Jack? You got to unmute. Do 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 do. Jack needs to unmute. Do 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 do. Dude, unmute the freaking mic. Oh, now he's deafened.
We
got
saw a
tired.
change. We saw a slight change.
Come
The
on, you can
pressure's
do it.
on. I'm sure his
Hurry,
nerves
get it.
are a bit rattled after that race. It is stressful to try to find the silly unmute button to click. I've been there.
Hurry, find it. I have to poop.
Come on, this man's about to rupture his sphincter. Come on. Nope, now he's deafened.
No.
You know what? Press the microphone button.
I wonder if a mod can just straight up unmute him.
I could try, but I think I only have access to like the. Yeah, no, I can only server mute or server deafen, so that's literally on him.
Hmm.
Well, you know what? We'll get back to you, Jack. You keep trying to figure it out, buddy. J Dog, let's talk to our race winner. Assuming, yeah. How you doing, J Dog? Oh, for God's sake! Oh, for God's sake! You know what? Somebody else do this. Jesus Christ!
I'm done. I'm done.
This is. I can't work under these conditions.
I thought this was a professional league. I expected everyone to know how to unmute their microphones.
We have the NRL at home. The NRL at home.
There he is. He's here.
There,
He's here.
J-Dog.
J-Dog's here.
There we go. Well, J-Dog, you took some very unorthodox strategies. Intermediates on qualifying, jumping to the mediums in your pit stop as opposed to the softs. What was the thought process there?
Well, I knew the mediums could go more than 8 laps. Wasn't sure about the fuel. I was saving fuel the entire time.
Okay. Well,
mainly
definitely.
dry line.
I noticed.
DK, do you have
Yeah,
any questions?
yeah. that was excellent driving, J Dog. I really enjoyed watching that race, and we were saying over and over again that it's just not over because everyone was having issues spinning out, um, just trying to keep the car pointed in the right direction. I noticed you doing a lot of tire cooling when you were on the intermediate tires. Do you think that was a big impact, or it was just something you were doing because
Mainly just
it could help?
trying to stretch the intermediates long enough to know that I would make it on mediums.
Okay, cool. And then talk me through that final overtake on Wambuki there at the end. You know, you were all over him coming out of Eau Rouge up the hill. Did you have the broadcast turned on? Did you have any idea that he had no tire life left, or were you just giving it your all?
I did not know he didn't have any tire life left. I thought he was out on fuel map 6 as far as I was concerned because I didn't know his tires were gone. I knew I probably had one more lap more fuel than he did. Maybe that's what I had in my head, but I didn't know he was out of tires.
Well, it worked out perfectly in that overtake. I mean, it was perfect. You just popped right around him and then took a commanding lead for that final lap. Great job, man! Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Mullah, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. So in the first couple of laps, you found yourself like kind of in the middle of the track trying to overtake, but it seemed like your brakes were much better than you thought. Like, were you surprised with the grip level of the track in the first couple of laps?
I really don't know what to say. It was a handful with the intermediates. Just having to map the gas and keep it straight. That's all I could do. I knew the intermediates would come in after a few laps.
And
Yeah,
I
you
guess
did
he
very
did have
well.
the advantage having done qualifying on the intermediates versus the other drivers. So he had that time, a little bit more knowledge of what the track was doing on those tires.
Yeah.
Yep,
But congratulations, J Dog. Well done. You're a goat and a Doug.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Congrats on the race win, J Dog. I guess sit back, relax, and enjoy the Division 1 race when that comes up.
Oh, I will. Can't wait for that one.
All right, be good, bud.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Jack, are you there? Oh, he was unmuted for just a second. Okay,
There he is.
Speak to us, son.
Jack, 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 Jack.
Yeah.
A little slow clap going on.
You can do it. Nope. Oh. Well, this is definitely a memorable set of interviews.
Da na na. Da na 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 na. Nothing.
Nothing. None of your business.
Yeah, guy in background.
Yeah.
Oh, forget they can't hear Leo. That's funny.
Shut up, man behind the curtain.
Who are they talking to?
I don't know. Jack, are you there?
Yeah, he's still having technical difficulties.
No, Jack, you muted yourself, bud.
I got to say, if we don't get Jack on, I really enjoyed watching him race today, and I do think he did a solid job in that Corvette to bring home the podium.
Yeah. Same
Yeah,
here. Jack, you are
may not have
unmuted.
won. He may not have won, but he was the best looking car out there by far.
He was the fastest of that car, that's for sure.
Clearly did the absolute best of everybody else.
All right, you know what? Fine. Since Jack chose the Corvette, but it's having technical difficulties, Mullet, you're gonna take the role of Jack. So, what was your thought process on picking the Corvette for this?
It's the GOAT.
All right, good talk. Thanks for your time. All right, Jack, we'll probably have to get with you a little bit later, since technical difficulties. But well done on the P3, man. And yeah, we'll pick your brain here shortly about your thoughts on the race and everything.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Well done. Jack the GOAT, ladies and gents.
Toon, have you seen Shanzi's livery?
I have not yet. Yeah,
on the back window, it says, Toon is a Swiftie, and then has a picture of Taylor Swift. So, Shanzi wants everyone to know
what the hell are
lies.
you on about?
And
no, Leo, put that car.
Now we all know Toon is a diehard Swiftie. It probably has more to do with his undying love for Travis Kelce, but we all know that Toon has been to every Eras show that he can get to. He watches them on YouTube. I know it's on his favorites on Netflix. So
I don't even have Netflix. I'm being slandered here. No. Yo, whoever is in this lobby, it can hear me. Take Shanzi out. I don't care if you make it look like an accident. Make it no. You get back out there on track. You get back out there on track, Shanzi.
We do have some really great liveries, I must say. This is already a gorgeous car. The heavily modified S2000. And yeah, everybody's looking real nice out there. Now, Toon, after NRL, in between NRL seasons, you ran your own little exhibition series that I gotta say was so much fun to be a part of. And this was one of the cars you used, and I actually didn't know that this car, the Amuse, existed. I only knew of the factory S2000. So you introduced me to this car, and it is a lot of fun to drive. Much like the MX-5, just with more power.
Yeah. The thing is, with that exhibition series, that's actually what kind of helped bring Mullet into the fold too. But like with all of those combinations, my main goal with it was that car needs to be fun to drive. And we've actually seen a few other cars, actually one other car from my exhibition series that I can remember off the top of my head, and that was the WRX Isle of Man when they were doing that around Brands Hatch. Because for the exhibition series, we did that in Watkins Glen, and McNaughty and RJ were racing the circuit in reverse the entire time. And then I remember the first race was the MX-5s at Brands Hatch, and that one was a blast. But I don't know, I just threw a couple cars out that I knew were going to be fun for the other drivers, because like the daily races suck. They almost always suck. So I wanted to help try and incorporate like a level of fun into it. And I'm glad that like the ideas didn't fall on deaf ears and they were taken into consideration and really brought in. The Red Bull Ring part, that wasn't me. I don't know who the hell cooked that up, but
This is a great track. I love this track.
it is a great track, but me and Red Bull Ring with Rain just don't really get along too well. So just yeah.
Fair enough.
While we wait for everybody to get some practice laps, and it looks like Jack has jumped back in. Are you there, Jack? I gotcha. Jack, you are currently muted. God bless him, he's trying.
And too, so we all complain about the dailies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there he is. Oh man!
Oh my God!
Jack, he's alive!
Finally!
Sorry.
All right, so you got P3. We're just gonna cut right to the chase. We're gonna skip the pleasantries. You got P3. You did it in the Corvette. How confident were you in picking the Corvette for this? I know it's your personal favorite car, just like it's Mullet, but like when you saw the rain and all of that other stuff, looking at the fuel, the tire, how confident were you in your car selection?
First of all, I know the Corvette is a fuel saver. You have to short shift it, so the fuel I wasn't so worried about. It was more so the rain. So that I just did lots and lots of practice with the Corvette. I tried rain all the way through, and I did so many different variations just so I could get used to driving in the rain, especially with a Vet. Because I know it does, most people say it is tail happy, but I've just kind of managed to make it work.
All right, I gotcha. TK, any questions?
I do. Hold on. Give me a second. Yes. So in my observation of your race, it was kind of like you were doing your own thing and focused on just finishing the race, and it really paid off for you. You did have some tight wheel to wheel moments. Were there points in time during the race where you felt like, hey, I need to not push so hard and just focus on hitting my marks and getting it through, or were you pushing, at the limit, trying to catch on those guys?
Mostly the very beginning, I was kind of worried about, just because I was either worried about getting outbreaking myself or whatever. So that was my biggest thing, and trying to stay close to everybody else as far as the podium, or even because I know them guys had a bunch of practice too. So I figure if I keep up with them, I should be okay.
Yeah, and you did a great job. I think did you spin out at all? From what we saw, you were the only one that did not, unless you spun. You can lie to us and say you didn't spin. Either way.
I know I had a couple off moments, but I don't think I actually ever spun. I know going through the replay, going down Radeon and on Rouge, I did have a couple of moments where I did go a little wider than I wanted to, but other than that, I don't think I ever actually spun. To the point where I could track.
You won the no spinning competition. So congratulations. That's an extra star next to your name.
Woohoo! Do I get extra crayons too?
Probably. I don't know. Take it up with B.
He also won choosing the best car.
Yeah, Jack, I guess if you want to find ways to maximize the Corvette, Mullet's definitely the guy. So, Mullet, any questions or tidbits of advice for handling your precious Corvette?
There's no other car to choose. Am I correct on this?
Absolute facts.
All right, that's all I got for you, Jack. Well freaking done. You are the GOAT.
Nah, I appreciate it. You've helped me quite a bit too, tangle this Corvette. So I've got tons of miles on it and all different kinds of tracks. So it's mostly owed to you.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, it's a circle jerk.
No,
Don't
not
get
even.
jealous. Don't get jealous.
All right, thanks for your time, Jack. We're glad you were able to get the difficulties sorted out. And yeah, that P3 definitely should have helped you in the standing, so we'll see how everything looks after all said and done.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all doing awesome, though, by the way. Keep it up.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, so I believe we are getting ready for the qualifying. Yes, the race settings. Forgot about that. Thank you, Leo. So we're at the Red Bull Ring. We're doing 20 laps, 5-minute qualifier, and as you saw, there will be rain. And let's see here. All tires are available, none required. So the drivers get to pretty much take their pick. And TK's put it most eloquently. It's like an MX-5, but with just more power. So it's going to be a good one. Let's scroll down a little bit, get a look at that weather. It'll be rain number 6, or rain number 8, rain number 5, cloudy number 2, sunny number 1, and then random for the last 2. There will also be 10 times tire, 5 times fuel, much like the last race, with 6 liters a second and a 2-minute runoff, and grip reduction off track is real. That's really all the settings we need to take a look at. So it's pretty much time to get this underway. As the sun is going down, let's make sure B resets the lobby before starting this.
I'm actually
Okay.
really pumped to see this race. Very interested to see how Josh does in the race. Got a chance to race with him. Me and a couple of our guys raced with him. He's a pretty talented driver, so he's going to be the person I'm going to watch probably the most. Just really pumped to see what he does in these conditions and the changing of the track.
I gotcha. And your guys are the GI guys, right?
Yeah, we are Goat Instinct.
Goat Instinct. That's what that stands for. All right. Well, while we wait for qualifying to get underway, tell us about the newly formed Goat Instinct.
We're all friends. We all chill, and we all drive fast. And there's really nothing else to it. Dom came up with the acronyms when we were messing around a little bit, or not the acronyms, like the name, like when we were messing around. So it just kind of stuck. I like the way it sounded, and I honestly I like people that are the greatest of all times. Things like like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan's, the Jeff Gordons, the Dale Earnhardt seniors. So like I really like people who dominate in sports. So that's why I use the term GOAT all the time. And and just the way that Dom threw that name out, it just, like I said, it just stuck.
All right, I gotcha. And with Goat Instinct, what are some of the requirements that must be met before they are put into consideration to become part of the goats?
We haven't really started like actively recruiting, but we don't really have any requirements. Just chill. Want to be one of the guys? No drama, please. Keep that keep that off the game, and let's just have fun.
All right, I gotcha. And looks like qualifying is now underway, and it's raining from the surprise of nobody. So who will be the first one out of the box?
And it looks like we have a good mix of wet and intermediate runners, so we'll get to see. Oh man, it looks wet.
Yep, and we have PHG SPC starting us out. So this will be pretty dicey, to say the least, because it's pouring the rain. They're fresh out the box, and they're probably only going to have time for maybe 1, possibly 2 laps.
It's a pretty short lap around here in comparison to Spa. So yeah, we might get an extra lap versus what we saw in the last race. It's a much shorter track. But the wet meter there looks to be about the same as it was at Spa. So it's going to be interesting. Are the intermediate drivers going to get a little bit drier line by the end of this? Or are they just going to run off, as I just watched Josh Moment make a trip into the gravel? There, he's coming around 4th in position behind SPC. And D. Rodriguez is still sitting in the pits. Maybe he wasn't quite ready, or he's just waiting. This might be strategy for Rodriguez. He might be waiting until the last minute to where he knows he's going to get an outlap and then just a dry track on fresh tires. It's a gamble.
Do you think the track will dry up by then, though?
Well, it's times 30, just like the last race, but it doesn't look like it's drying up at all. The rain is still coming down, but there is a chance it could be slightly drier on that last run. I wish we had a way to see the time, how much time they have left, but it is very wet out there.
Yeah. Ooh, and the Swifty Mobile goes sideways and unfortunately got back on track. Well,
ooh. Half-second penalty. Track limits here are tough, especially the final two corners. It is really easy to get track limits, which is pretty frustrating when racing here. But luckily, the penalty zone is in a pretty forgiving spot if you can keep it under a second penalty, because it's right before a heavy braking zone. So with the half a second, as long as somebody isn't right on you, you're not going to lose all that much as far as track position goes.
All right. Now, there's one thing I didn't take into consideration. So they're on a wet surface. They're in a road car. How much is that penalty line going to run the risk of unsettling the car? Because there are some cars that if you get into the penalty line and stuff like that, it will become unsettled. So that's just something I have yet to take into consideration.
I think that's a great thought. As long as their wheels straight, they should not have any issues. But they do come out of that right-hander, right before the penalty gets there. But like I said, just make sure that wheel is straight, and then we should be fine.
And the harsher the penalty will affect it as well. The half second, it doesn't. It's a really brief blip. But if you have like a pit lane penalty, the 3-second penalty, colliding with another car penalty, and like Mullet said, the wheel's not straight, that's where you really run the risk. Versus the half-second penalty shouldn't be much of an issue.
All right, that's good to know. And it looks like our current fastest lap will go to Josh Mullet with a 1:49.714. So, all right, looks like the drivers will get a extra lap, and looks like Rodriguez has opted to start in the back. And given how this is Red Bull Ring, it's raining, cold tires, starting on the back's probably the best idea. Because turn one is normally on a dry track pretty dodgy to begin with. And yeah, and it looks like Sal has decided to park it up for a minute.
Yep, and that's exactly where Josh went off earlier. That I think it's technically turn 4, but really more like turn 3. That right-hander coming down the hill, it's nothing but gravel on the outside, and it is so easy to understeer off the track. So I think we'll see a lot of that, especially at the beginning of the race, and then towards the end, assuming the random weather continues to dry. We're going to see a lot of drivers making little trips out into the gravel track. But that is interesting. With the weather being random, it could be the opposite of what we just saw at Spa, where the track just continued to dry out. It could then downpour again, and we might see a third or a second pit stop going from slicks to intermediates or wets again.
Josh just put in a nice lap, up almost 2 seconds on P2.
And that was on the full wets versus the intermediates. Looks like the top 3 drivers are all on the wets, and the intermediate drivers are struggling around here.
Yeah, looking at the wet line, it looks like the intermediates should be a little quicker at this point, but just not enough laps for them to really catch up to the wet tire.
So we'll see what they choose to start on. I would imagine everyone starts on the intermediates. based on what the track is looking like right now.
Yeah, but there is also a steep downhill section where the water should, by the laws of physics, be pooling up. So it should be fine. Yeah, intermediates. I don't know. I'm a B-rated driver for a reason.
This track, unlike Spa, where you're abusing all the curbs, this track you typically are more abusing the exit of the turns versus every single part. So we'll see. It is hard not to go on the curbs on the exit of these corners. The way they're angled, they're not perfect 90 degrees. They cut in, they keep going, and that outside curb just all of a sudden you're on it and you're not even intending to. So I think that's going to be a big struggle here, is staying off that outside curb, especially if or when they switch to slicks.
Yeah, honestly, with that, with the last 2 bits of weather being random, I don't foresee it raining again, but I can't dismiss it entirely.
Yeah, you're not God.
I've raced God, but that's it. And unlike Leo, I won. So I digress. But there's a higher likelihood of it being cloudy or sunny than there is it being rainy. But let's go and take a look at the classified quality results. So starting on pole position for the final race for Division 1 will be BHR Josh Moon with a personal fastest lap of 148.173. Coming in P2, down by 1.8 seconds, will be PHG Shaggy Doo 88, almost called him by his old screen name, with Pelias Pangolin rounding out our top 3 for the starting grid, followed by
So
PHG
close.
SPC, Shanzi in the Swifty Mobile in P5, followed by PHG Salamander MN, followed by PHG Papa, and D. Rodriguez rounding out the starting grid, opting to start in the back, which will probably be a wise decision. So, while we wait for the finals of the BHRL Division 1 brought to you by PHG, do you guys have any predictions for this?
Josh runs away. He's gone.
Yeah, we're going to see a Verstappen here from Josh, or pre last 3 races Verstappen.
What, did Verstappen not win the last? Well,
no, he still won. He didn't run away. The other teams have caught up, but prior to that, I think we're going to see that from Josh. But look how close Shaggy Doo and Pelias are. 1/100th of a second off.
Yeah,
that and like P2 all the way to P6 is separated by half a second. So Sal and Shanzi are right there with SPC, Pangolin, and Shaggy Doo. The race is very much on for P2 just by looking at it, but obviously things could change with like the changing conditions.
Yeah, you never know. And with it being, grid start, going uphill into heavy braking, up another hill into heavy braking, it could all get jumbled up real quick.
that is all very true, but it looks like we will have to see what happens as we are now waiting for the lights to come on and then off again for the Division 1 final for the BHRL's first season. Got some lights flashing. Will anybody jump the line? Doesn't look like it right now. Thank goodness. This first turn is going to be very tricky, and everybody should drive with extreme caution. And they are off. Everybody came out nice and neatly, and Josh Moment is holding on to P1 for the time being. Now, since this is a tricky corner, where is the... Ooh, and Josh Moment getting a little squirrely. Looks like Pangolin was getting a little squirrely as well.
SPC lost some positions there, too.
That he did. Looks like we're going to have 2 wide, Shaggy Doo and Josh coming into turn, what I'm calling it turn 2.
Yeah.
And this one's a real dicey one because it is a very sharp hairpin and it's sopping wet. And this is more uncomfortable to envision myself in than Spa was.
And Shaggy got the inside and the lead. If he can get it stopped and turned, he's got the lead. Josh and Rodriguez have their traction control turned off, while everybody else has their traction turned on. And we're seeing an excellent battle here for first as Josh is going around the outside. Is he going to do the switcheroo? And he's going to switcheroo. Now he's got the inside. Well played, Josh. Oh, but now Shaggy's got it. Oh my goodness, back and forth. Here's where the curbs come into play. You use them on these exits. And now we're going to see if we get any track limits going into the last two corners.
I don't think we'll see any track limits coming into the last two corners. I'm just sitting here thinking it's too soon to be battling it out. Like,
right?
Let the track dry up a little bit. Wait,
not at all. Shaggy being on the intermediate tires, the more he disrupts Josh, the less of his advantage is going to be while the track is this wet, and the bigger the advantage is going to be for Shaggy as it starts drying out. So for Shaggy, he is doing the right thing. Keep disrupting him. Keep making him look in his mirror. Keep trying to send moves. I think he's doing the right thing.
Yeah. We are, but Chauncey's going back at D. Rodriguez as they come up the hill, and Chauncey's going to take P6 back coming up into turn 2 as Shaggy's drawing nearer and nearer to Josh. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of sending. There's going to be a lot of sending moves. This battle right now between Chauncey and SPC and Salamander is all very tight. It's just tight all the way around for it just being, I mean, with the rain like this, a lot of times things spread out pretty quickly, but everyone's staying very close and applying the pressure.
Now, my question is, what happened to Papa? He fell way behind.
I did not see what happened, but you're right. He's 8.5 seconds off Chauncey, 17 seconds off the lead.
He must have had a pretty bad spin, but luckily it's only lap 2 of 20. We're literally a tenth of the way through the race. There's still tons left to happen. And it looks like the track won't be drying out anytime soon. At least as far as I can tell, but you guys are better that now.
That rain's still coming down. You can see the blue color in the wetness meter showing that it is still heavily wet out there. And as far as fuel goes, the front runners have been battling each other and have used more fuel. Shaggy and Josh have and Goliath have used more fuel than everybody else. They all have under 3/4 of a tank, and the P4 on back has more than 3/4 of a tank. So being up at the front pushing like that has cost them on fuel.
I didn't even think fuel would play that much of a factor this early on in the race, but yeah, you're right.
And it's really not a factor at this point. It's not until we figure out what the weather's doing. Is the weather and fuel going to coincide with the switch to slicks, or is it still going to be wet out there? If it's still going to be wet, it doesn't really matter when you pit as far as fuel goes, as long as you can make it, your stint, however long you're trying to go. It's if you run out of fuel and have to pit, and then a lap later the track dries out and you have to pit again. So it's hard to say, is it safe to fuel save or to push it? And only time will tell who is right, and the weather's going to show us what that's going to look like.
As you're saying that, Shaggy and the wet line, it's starting to favor the intermediate tires a little bit, very slightly. So he's in a great spot to race Josh. Also, Sal being on the intermediate tires and saving more fuel than the front three. I mean, he's definitely someone to watch as well once the track starts drying out. Where he's gonna pit, it's something to watch for sure for Sal.
Yeah, you're right. I think Sal might be playing a game. He's got SPC all over the back of him, but he seems to be having a plan in mind of keeping those front runners in check, but knowing he's got a little bit more fuel for when it counts.
I'm sorry. I'm quickly taking a look at the Delta, and it looks like SPC is gonna. Yeah, looks like SPC might be trying to make a move up, and I'm looking at Salander's livery, and yeah, he never ceases to amaze. As SPC sends it up the
Sends it.
outside, but gets very squirrely. So was it worth it?
I think it was. He got the position, and that was a gamble. I don't know how in control he was right then, but he kept it together, and it worked out. And Sal then lost out to Rodriguez in that whole situation. So Sal lost 2 positions.
Yeah, that he did, but there's still a lot of racing left in the grand scheme of it. I mean, looks like the track is drying up a little bit. Only halfway through that second bar. Oh, and well, actually, I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt because it got on the curb. But it looks like the intermediates will definitely start getting at least a little bit of favor because it does appear the dry line is already starting to form. So,
Yeah, Shaggy's
Leo,
catching Josh under a second now.
Yeah, and Rodriguez is all over the back of SBC. Rodriguez on the intermediate. So now you're right, Mullet. It is 100% favoring those intermediate drivers as Rodriguez made that look so easy there. And I think we're going to start seeing that from Shaggy as well, and Rodriguez as he catch up to Pelias.
So I'm trying to get my bearings here. Oh, wow, yeah. Shaggy's closed that gap to Josh to just over half of a second as they're coming into turn 2. And, yeah, Shaggy's definitely getting a lot of speed now. But Shaggy is also on a controller and automatic transmission, which, I mean, he's making it work for him, and he does every single time, but how much worse is his tire degradation going to be as a result? Because GT already has this thing where controllers have worse tire wear for some reason, and with the automatic transmission, there's not a lot of finagling that can be done. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
I think that what hurts the controller drivers is the fuel saving. If you're running automatic, it does make the fuel saving more difficult because you have to rely on the fuel mapping versus short shifting. But I think we've seen in past in NRL and other experiences with Shaggy, tire wear, that's just not a thing for him. I don't know what it is. He can run with all red. It doesn't matter. So for him, it's going to be about fuel saving if he needs to fuel save. And but I think as far as his pace goes and tire wear goes, I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. And Rodriguez is definitely gaining on the rest of the field from 8th to 3rd in just 6 laps. So Rodriguez, I'm curious because turn 1 really wasn't bad in the grand scheme of it. So it begs the question, where would Rodriguez be if he had gone and qualified?
Based on his pace, way out ahead. I mean, he's a good second quicker than everybody else out there. 2 seconds quicker than Josh, second quicker than Shaggy. He's putting on quite the performance here with minimal tire wear. He's doing great on fuel compared to everybody else. He's almost got half a tank, and everybody else is at a quarter of a tank. So he can extend this stint and find the appropriate time to switch to slicks, which seems like it's going to be around the corner. That meter there on the left-hand side showing how wet it is about to cross that last bar and enter into slicks territory.
Yeah, they're like a lap or 2 away. They're right on the cusp of changing.
And Pelias is going in the pit, so maybe they're gonna risk it and go for the slicks early. It sometimes works and it sometimes does not.
So Pelias is going for a bit of an undercut and jumping into the box early. Speaking of jumping into the box, after an hour and 45 minutes, the safety car's finally in at Spa. So with Pangolin doing an undercut, Rodriguez is set up to do an overcut. And we're not even halfway through the race, so which strategy would either of you have gone in this situation?
I'm not sure. I'd have to practice the combo to know. If the softs work out, this is definitely going to benefit because he's gonna gain well over 3 to 5 seconds a lap.
He is going to have to fuel save though, to make this go 13 laps. If he was pushing it all out, he got 7 laps, and now he's going to have to make his tank of fuel last and those tires last 13 laps.
I don't think you can get those softs to last 13 laps on 10 times tire wear. There's no way.
I'm much more conservative, and from what I've gathered from Mullet with my NRL experience and my experience with him today, he's definitely a gambler and likes to push the envelope. So I can see Mullet making this work. I myself would have pushed a little bit further, but you do run to the point where the intermediates are just losing you more time. So we just now saw several drivers hopping in the pit. So it's hard to say overcut, undercut, but it really depends on the driver and how confident they are in making their strategy work.
Yeah, we're going to watch this in play right now because Josh and Shaggy being in the pits, we're going to see the difference between times, but also having so much more gas is going to limit the time that Rodriguez is going to be in the pits too. So, so something else to keep an eye on with them changing to tires now opposed to later.
You're right. Because pitting and doing 3/4 of a tank of fuel is a lot different than a full tank with how slow the fuel rate is. And then, like we were saying with Shaggy on controller, it makes fuel saving a bit more tricky. So he's going to need to make these 12 laps on a full tank work for him.
I think it's Shaggy double-clicked in the pits because he came out in intermediates again.
Oh, that's frustrating. We saw a pit stop fail last race where they forgot to refuel, and now we got wrong tires. And you get into it, you start clicking buttons, you forget to fuel or you don't fuel. It all comes down to the pressure.
Yep, but since there is still a little bit of moisture on track, it looks like Shaggy might be able to leverage a little bit and hopefully not lose too much time for it. And were Shaggy and Josh the only ones to pit that lap?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep.
And Rodriguez box, Shanzi, Sal, Papa, SPC are all still out on intermediates or wets, and Shanzi's 11.2 seconds behind Rodriguez, and now it's looking like he's just going to run away with it. I don't see how Shaggy or Josh, especially Shaggy coming back out on the inters, are going to be able to close that gap. Josh is 41 seconds off of Rodriguez.
Yeah, but he still has to pit.
That he does. And
I thought, yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking Rodriguez had already pitted. I was like, oh my gosh, look at what he's done. But yeah, he is almost out of fuel, so he's going to have to get a full tank of fuel and then come out of the softs. But he won't have to do any fuel saving. He'll be able to push this to the end, and we'll see what that looks like at the end with Josh, who's almost at 3/4 of a tank.
Yeah, he's gaining massively. He's already over a second in 2 corners.
And Rodriguez comes into the pit. This is going to be an exciting pit exit. I love this in racing when 2 different strategies come out to a head, and it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Like if we can see where Josh is right now, that would be rather exciting to see where he comes out in comparison to Rodriguez and Shanzi.
Well, it looks like we've seen 3 different strategies in the grand scheme of it, because we saw 1 pit at the end of lap 7, 2 at the pit end of lap 8, 2 at the end of this lap, and yet SPC and Papa both are still out of the pits. So we're going to see 4 different strategies in all reality. And
So Rodriguez comes
jumped
out
on
of the
mediums.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like Josh and Shaggy are having a little shootout right now.
And they got him.
Yeah. So apparently Shaggy's intermediate. What do you mean it was intentional?
Well, they can see the radar. We can't see the radar. There could be something coming. It's random. He might have seen something, and he's been abusing the curbs. Shaggy's been abusing these curbs. He's been going on the wet line, but that tire wear is pretty awful for having half a race left. So unless a downpour is coming, I don't know how this benefits him.
I don't know either. Leo, do you happen to have any more insight that you can feed us? No? Alright. So, yeah.
Ooh, Shanzi and Rodriguez both have 3-second penalties, I'm assuming for pit lane infringement. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt Rodriguez big time. It's gonna hurt Shanzi as well, but I know Rodriguez was battling harder for that top spot.
SPC's in the box. So, and Papa had 0 fuel.
So Papa took it to the end. Now he's going to be able to push on whatever. All these guys that have pitted aren't going to have to do any fuel saving. And whatever tire compound they come out on, they're going to be able to push it all the way.
Would the softs last 9 laps if they absolutely sent it, though, TK?
I mean, the front lefts are going to be screaming. That's for sure. But you could do it. You're not going to have anything at the end, but at a track like this, track position is pretty important. You can plant your car in the apex and make it hard for the other person to get around. So
okay, and it looks like the sun is starting to go down, so I don't think the track will be drying as fast anymore.
Papa also came out in intermediates.
They must be seeing something on the radar that we can't see.
Yeah, they have to be, because I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah, if rain's coming, I mean, we're at times 30. Oh, and SPC just botched turn 2, and now Papa has taken P7.
Well,
and we got a battle. We got a battle with Salamander and Rodriguez right now.
And Papa
very
has
tight battle. And Shanzi is right behind him.
Yep, we've got a 3-way battle for P4 right now, and hold on, Rodriguez is on the medium. Mm-hmm. So were Shaggy and Papa literally the only 2 to hop on intermediates?
They did, yes. and Shanzi's on the soft, so Shanzi is on the quicker tire from Salamander and Rodriguez. And he's got more fuel than Rodriguez, not as much fuel as Salamander.
So Sal could push if he wants and pull away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Josh has a good 8.5 second lead, but for being on, oh my goodness, Shaggy's mediums or intermediates are done. I don't see how he stays out, but it is Shaggy. So.
Let's take a quick peek over, Leo. See how bad it's. Oh yeah, never mind. Go back to Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think Shanzi's all over the back of Salamander, so I think we see a position change, him being on the softs and Salamander being on the mediums. But I mean, they're both great drivers. We'll see what happens. But I think coming into these heavy braking zones downhill, I think Shanzi has the advantage.
Okay, ooh, Rodriguez getting a little squirrely coming into that corner. Looks like may have touched the curb a little bit. I can't really tell.
Yeah, the curbs are still holding.
Yeah, Pangolin just passed Shaggy for P2.
Oh, that he did. Probably due to the severe tire degradation on those intermediates, and Shaggy's gonna have to get on another set of tires soon. There's no way around it.
I feel like we lost SBC.
Oh, we did. We did. I didn't even notice that.
Sorry, guys.
SBC.
I'm back.
Oh, good. It happens to me all the time. But where were we? Oh, yeah. So Rodriguez now has almost a 4-second gap over Salamander at the moment. But, looks like Salamander spun as well.
No, quick, guys. We got this.
Yeah. What appears Shanzi is driving with his hazards on as well. I don't quite know what's going. Apologizing to Salamander. Good show of sportsmanship to send out a quick apology. And don't know what happened to Papa, but he lost a lot of ground between himself and Sal. What's that gap right now, TKs?
14 seconds. No, 15 seconds. This does not seem to be the combo for him, and he is on the intermediates, and there's no wet line out there unless you're driving on the curb, so these things are just going to burn up.
Yeah, Shaggy and Josh pitted at the same time, and Shaggy right now has lost a net of 22 seconds to Josh on this stint.
And Pangolin is going into the box, probably for some fuel if I were a betting man.
Yeah, he's out.
And I'm not seeing any indication that there's and Pangolin's also getting on a fresh set of tires as well. Wonder what he jumped to. Guess we will have to see once.
What happened to Shanzi? Shanzi's lost it. He pulled over onto the wet surface and then just spun around on the start-finish straight. Now has damage.
And it's heavy damage for Division 1, is it not?
You are asking the wrong person.
So whatever's on the radar, it does not scare Pangolin because he comes out in the racing softs.
Okay, so there might not actually be rain then.
And Shaggy's going to have to come into the pits because Shaggy's low on fuel as well.
All right. The man behind the curtain is predicting a splash and dash, but I'm not entirely sold on that.
We're he could do like a half a tank of fuel and put on some softs for the last stint. He's got Rodriguez coming around behind him, so he's going to lose a position to Rodriguez, potentially Salamander. But then he's going to have 6 laps to make something happen.
Yep. And we're about 3/4 of the way through this race, and it's definitely been a bit of a head scratcher on my end. A lot of strategies I really didn't expect. So I don't know. Also, if I see Shaggy roll out on intermediates, I'm just gonna mentally check out because
and Josh is going to have to come into the pits as well for fuel, and he might as well change tires as well.
It looks like Shaggy comes out in the softs.
Okay.
So he's going to push it all out. He doesn't have to worry about fuel. Soft tires. Coming out in P6. So he's got his work cut out for him. But at least
Josh into the pits.
Josh is going to have to pit, and Rodriguez is going to have to pit. Oh no! Is that going to be a 3-second penalty?
It looked like he was on the inside. He might be okay.
That's tough. The pit lane penalty on the entry is always tricky. I never know. I always
Well, I mean-
take it so cautiously, but yeah, Josh and Rodriguez are going to have to pit again. Sal shouldn't have to pit. Shanzi shouldn't have to pit.
Oh,
could-
Rodriguez spins around in the pit.
Oh no, that's 2. Oh, he's facing the wrong way.
That's definitely 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Run
This-
another lap. No, it's not worth
This-
it. Run another lap.
This might have been the strategy that Shaggy was trying to avoid because the slick runners going into the pits are struggling, and he was able to just pit normally.
That makes so much sense. Wow.
Okay,
He's able to handle the wet pit entry. Let's see where he is. So he's in P6 and he's coming around the penultimate corner. Can he come out ahead of these guys, or at least ahead of Rodriguez?
Ooh, Josh got a 3-second penalty. Sal, who could make the end, is only 5 seconds behind him.
Wow.
And the 3-second penalty is going to close that even further. So
This is one of the penalty here is not as harsh as other tracks, not as harsh as we saw at Spa, because it is right before a braking zone. But yeah, 3 seconds is it is quite the penalty.
yeah, without a doubt.
And Rodriguez has the same 3-second penalty.
Well,
I like the
Will
different
Pop-
strategies we're seeing. This makes racing more fun, in my opinion. Is having people doing different things, trying different things, taking risks, and then you really don't know what's going to happen till the end.
Yeah, that's a very
What is
good
going
point.
on? There we go. Josh served his penalty, and he is going as the sun goes down. Salamander's still 5 seconds behind him.
And I'm getting word from Leo that yeah, Shaggy's definitely cutting the time down like crazy. So, but he's only got 4 laps left. So, will it be enough time to really make some more considerable jumps in positioning, like making his way up to P3 for a podium? Because it's now 3 laps left. Track still isn't fully dry, and Shaggy did wind up on a rather wet line, and it is very, very dark now. So it's this is one of those races that is legitimate too hard to call.
I think Shaggy
Let's
has
take a
a
look at
chance
the-
going by like lap times to get Elias, but I think he's a little too far back to get Shanzi.
Okay. And
But Shanzi is closing up on Salamander. He's got him in his sights and is putting in significantly quicker lap times. Because Salamander's on the mediums and Shanzi is on the softs, and he's about 3 seconds quicker a lap than Salamander is.
good. Quick glance,
Got a
yeah.
little squiggle. He's all over him
lot of
now. The
squiggle.
pressure is on. Pressure is on going into turn 1. Got those high beams on. He's
Oh,
going
looks
up
like-
inside. He goes for it, and he get the apex. Gets it. Keep it on.
Ooh,
Well played.
Well-
Well played. But look at the fuel level. Oh my
yeah,
goodness, I didn't see that.
It's not gonna do Shanzi too
Ah.
much good. He's gonna
Oh man.
Shanti's gonna either have to fuel. Actually, I don't even think that's enough fuel to fuel save for the rest of the race.
And Shaggy is all over Polias now.
This looks like a race for P3.
Yep. It is on. It is on.
Looks like Shaggy's able to get the overtake done
Okay.
nice and neatly too. And Shanti will not go into the pit.
He's got a little ways to decide, but based on, yeah, he's got to. they're even on fuel map 6 short shifting. You're not making it to the end with that sliver of red in the tank.
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna have to pit. So how much time will he lose just to refueling? Because if he's
He could come
Ooh.
out in front of Rodriguez because he can just do a splash. Oh no! Oh no! What happened? Oh, I was gonna say he might be able to come out ahead of Rodriguez if he just does a splash, but with that, I don't think he's got any hope.
I don't think so either.
Oh, you hate to see it.
And I think he switched past pit entry too, so
Nope,
I don't know if Sanji's
Oh no,
gonna be
he made it. He's wiggled his
made
way
it?
over there. He
Okay.
is inching into the pits as we speak.
Ooh. Oh, that was very unfortunate to see. But
So can Shaggy close up to Salamander?
with 2 laps left, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Good answer. It's the right answer. 6 seconds, but he's closing. He's closing. Yeah, with the mistakes we've been seeing, if you touch the curb, it's easy to mess up.
How dark must it be for those drivers? Because it looks like you can't really see a thing. And Papa has to be cursing Leo under his breath right now. There's no way he's not. This is a finals worthy race. Like, make no mistakes about it. But good God, I do not envy these drivers because it's almost pitch black out. You've got like some light from the moon, but on this circuit, I couldn't bring myself to do this one. This is extremely tricky, but let's go take a look at our current race leader in Josh Moment. Has a 25-second gap between himself and Salamander, so all he really has to put a lap together and really bring it home. Saw the flashing of the lights and getting squirrely now. But okay, let's not give everybody a seizure shot, Josh. Let's let's focus on driving.
The early celebration, taking notes from Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, but sometimes tooting your own horn a little early is a precursor to disaster. Jesus Christ. Those with epilepsy, please look away. Well done to Josh regardless. Very, very well done. And bring it around the final quarter. Oh, and okay.
27-second lead. 27 seconds.
South spun. Shaggy
spun out.
P2.
Shaggy takes P2.
Rodriguez is coming up on Sal right now.
Oh my goodness. Here he comes. I don't think he's close enough.
Will Salamander be able to hold on to the position though for the last couple turns? He does have dirty tires. He's got pretty much no fuel. So it's he's gonna have to park it on the apex if he wants the shot. And that's what he does. So it looks like Salamander will Sal be able to hold on to it because we've got Rodriguez right up Sal's chuff.
He got it.
And it looks
Shaggy
like
with P2.
Yeah.
Sal with P3.
Sal will be able to hold on to it.
You know, that got really close again right there at the end. It spread out for a minute, and then all the excitement there at the end as the different strategies played out.
Yeah, it was fun having you in PhD, Leo. Congrats on your unemployment. You've just been sacked.
Great job to Salamander. He put his car in the perfect spot. Rodriguez got a better exit out of that corner, and had he been just slightly more to the right, he would have passed Salamander, but he had nowhere to go because Salamander put his car in the perfect spot to where, as Rodriguez accelerated, he just went into the back of him.
Yeah, Sal did like some perfect defensive driving there because one little slip could have cost him P3. But
It was
congratulations to Josh for the race victory and also securing fastest lap.
by
Following,
over 2 seconds. My goodness.
yeah, following Josh will be PHG Shaggy Doo, followed by his PHG teammate and Salamander rounding out our podium, followed by D Rodriguez, Polias Pangolin rounding out our top five, PHG Papa, who is now firing Leo from PHG, followed by Shanti and PHG SPC, who we mysteriously lost during the race. But all in all, that was a very nerve-wracking race, for at least on my end. But it was definitely fantastic viewing. And yeah, we'll just wait for the points to be divvied out and all of that. And well, I guess everything else will just be handled off screen with Brigsby and the stewarding hands. So while we wait for everybody to file on in, Mullet, what was your take on like all the different strategies for this race?
The two that confused me was Shaggy and Papa, but I definitely see the method to their madness. I just don't think it worked out because of like the huge net loss. I think Shaggy lost upwards of 30 seconds to Josh, not only on just like pace, but just being on the intermediate tire versus the softs. Um, so yeah, it was interesting to see. It was a fun race to watch. It was definitely difficult for these guys to maneuver around the track in the changing conditions. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'm not really surprised with the race winner. I'm just surprised with the strategy that Shaggy and Papa did. Like that just surprised me. I just knew that Josh was gonna walk this no matter how it was gonna happen.
Yeah, we
All right,
saw
I got
with Rodriguez had Josh spun as badly as Rodriguez spun going into the pits, it would have been closer as far as Shaggy and Josh. I still don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it would have he would have caught up, but it definitely we saw that Josh getting into the pits was not great, but he got in there quicker than Rodriguez. So it did play out for Shaggy as far as Rodriguez, who had just some unreal pace out there. Um, but still, the time lost to Josh, it didn't come back to him.
I got you. Well, let's make our way on over to the interviews, and we'll start with our P3 finisher and Salamander. Sal, how you doing, bud?
There we go. Had to get off mute. Hey, guys.
Hey, bud. So first question. You had Rodriguez right on you at the last corner, actually last couple corners. How important to you was it that you like nailed your defensive lines and parked it on those apexes?
To be honest, I was too frustrated with the fact that I spun it before that and lost second place to Shaggy, so I didn't even realize there was anybody behind me, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, moving on over to you, TKs.
Yeah, I mean, for not knowing, I mean that you put your car in the perfect spot. So your just natural instinct there after recovering from a spin that would have anybody, frazzled, you held your composure really well. Because Rodriguez, he got a better exit, but he had nowhere to go except for into the back of you. So you did a great job of regaining your composure and finishing on the podium. Um, were you fuel saving, or did you have it planned out to where you could go all out between pit stops?
No, I was fuel saving. I was on fuel map 6 almost the entire race, so I
Oh
was planning
wow!
on doing the one stopper. I would I was going to do a 10-5-5.
Uh huh.
But in all the practices I'd done, it had never dried out. It was intermediates for 20 laps. So we got to the point where at lap 10, I'm like, well, I can't do this on another set of intermediates. So I'm going to have to go to mediums. And, I mean, I made it last and I made it work, but I had almost no practice on the racing tires. So I felt like I lost quite a bit there. But all in all, I was definitely fuel saving. I was going to do it as a one stopper if I was going to be able to make it on the second set of tires, knowing that I had to change tires, because my original plan was to not change tires at all and just drive as fast as I could in the second half and do 2.5s. But yeah, I knew I wasn't going to have the kind of pace on the racing tires because I didn't practice it. So I'm like, I'm just going to stick with the one stopper, save myself 30 some seconds, and see if that'll do it. And it would have had I not made a mistake at the end. I don't even know what I did wrong. It was just dumb.
Well, you did a great job. You really did, and you're right. Minus that mistake, that was P2 easy. But you still maintained to stay on the podium. So you had an excellent strategy, and hats off to you. Great job on P3.
Thanks.
How about you, Mullet?
Well done. I'm a little fan. Can't wait for your video on this. What was the best moment for you for just the entirety of BHRL?
Honestly, doing the Group 2 cars at Tokyo was my favorite. I love the fast, high downforce, low margin for error, but the cars are predictable. So I really had fun with that one. And just that whole race, that was really good. Last week was a bit frustrating. This one was, I can't believe Josh went so fast, especially with so little practice. I mean, I know he's quick, but dang, I thought I was going to have a little something for him. But hats off to him and Shaggy for capitalizing.
Yeah, good job to you, man. Like I said, definitely looking forward to your video on this one. I can't wait to hear your take on things.
Thanks, Bullet.
Yep, congrats, Sal. Very hard-fought season, very well done, and can't wait to see what league you jump into after this one.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. It was fun. I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. This was good. I hats off to Briggs for putting this together, and all you guys for picking the combos and all that. Great job.
Thanks, man. All right, let's make our way on over to Shaggy Doo 88. Shaggy, you there?
No, he's gone.
No, I guess not. All right. Oh, there he is. Oh, God, it's Jack all over again. All right, Shaggy, you're muted, bud.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. I went to mash the button, and there was no buttons to make it come up. It was just blank. Like it had like the little background square or whatever, but there was nothing to press.
I got you. Well, we're gonna change
Like a personal
things up.
problem to me.
We're gonna change things up and have the first questions be asked by your GT lover Mullet. So go for it, bud.
Hi, Raggy. So
Omaha?
what's the plan for your strat? Because you did an interesting strat. You started on intermediates, which ended up benefiting you through the first stint, gained you enough time on Josh, and then you went back to the intermediates. Was the reason you went on intermediates because of the pit entrance later on in the race?
Well, honestly, I didn't trust myself with the softs or whatever on a drying track. It was very sketchy, and I saw a lot of people didn't have too much fun with that. So I was like, well, I want to kill some inners, so I did. It's kind of my thing. I'm gonna burn something up, and I'm like, I got enough time because I saw I had a good gap, and everybody else was either one stopping or hadn't did their second stop yet. I was like, let me see what I can do, and then yeah, so I only killed 3 of them. I didn't get the 4th one, sadly.
Well, you did have me scratching my head throughout the race. I just want to say good job to you, and it's good to hear from you. I'll pass this over to T-Case.
Yeah, man, great job. Way to capitalize there at the end. And you had us all, head scratching, and then like, wait, is he a genius? Did he think this through? That be entering the pits is going to be a real struggle on the softs, and it played out to be a really good race. But the whole time, when we were talking about tires, it's like Shaggy didn't care about tires. He's got this. Whatever it's going to be on, he's going to run them all the way to the red. What was your thinking there at the end as the podium was just out of sight, then inside, and then all of a sudden P2?
Well, I passed a couple people or whatever, taking the sauce on that last stint. I knew I had, some pace. I had to baby it though because I was worried I was gonna, catch the edge of the wet line and lose it. But yeah, I just kind of did that, and I guess I knew Sal was fuel saving. I didn't know he was doing a one stop. I didn't pay enough attention to, who was doing what, trying to not die myself. And so I was gaining quick on him, and I was like, no, when he nicked that corner. I was like, no, you were so close. And I think Shanzi ran out of fuel because I passed him, or his car just died. I don't know. He was all the way over the corner with no fuel.
Yeah, he had a big spin on the last straight there as well, and then I think he did run into fuel issues. But that was impressive. I mean, we got to see different strategies. Yours being the most unique, and you ended up P2. So congratulations, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell that happened. I just kind of went out there and P2, cool. Yeah, kind of fell into my lap, I guess. Sorry, Sal.
Fair enough. So, did you know that Papa was also taking a second set of inners during that race?
That might have been my fault.
You and Lee set the man up for failure.
Probably. Well, I mean, in our defense, a lot of the practices we were running, it didn't dry out that fast. It didn't dry out that fast. Like halfway through the race, you could put sauce on. Because most of the time we'd load it up, and unless you had, I guess, B's exact lobby, you were going to get something totally different. And his was probably the only one that it was raining halfway, and then it was like, okay, turn it off, and then dry track.
Were you kind of hoping that it would stay rainy the rest of the race like it was in your practices?
Yeah, I would have been a lot closer to Josh if it stayed rainier, because it was easier to fuel save, which I don't like. Honestly, I was gonna 3-stop it if I really got crazy with it, but it just didn't work out that way. It was gonna be too dry, and I still couldn't take the soft tires early enough, anyways, because I didn't trust them not to kill me. But either way, the inners tried to kill me though.
All right, fair enough. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on the P2, surprise P2 from the sounds of it. And yeah, I guess just go sit back and unwind. Your work here is done, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good job, y'all, and good to have y'all commenting and commentating and all your valuable info and knowledge. And also good job for B, a lot to learn from this, and the next season I'm sure will be 1,000 times better.
Bye, Raggy.
Yay!
All right. All right, making our way on to our race leader, Josh Bowman, aka Monument. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good, man.
Glad to hear. So, you had a pretty eventful race, all things considered, and then at the end of the race, it just kind of mellowed out for you. So, what were your expectations going into this based on practice, and then what were your thoughts when it probably wasn't what you expected?
Well, you said based on practice. I don't know. You can ask Leo. Whenever he would hold a practice lobby, I was just driving like a VGT and messing around. I really didn't want to put a ton of weight on my shoulders and like pressure myself into this race. I had a 14-point lead. I was like, there's no sense in being stressed over this. I'm not going to practice. And then on Thursday, we left for Nashville. So I didn't get any practice over the weekend. I didn't see any of the strategies. So I figured going in, I'd be like, well, I'll be happy with a top 5. I'll probably get 6th or 7th because I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't know what the rain's going to be like. I've never driven this car on wet tires or on a completely dry track. It's always been like in the intermediate stage. I really thought it would be just get to the end, get the points, and like get the championship. I had no clue that I would be able to win.
Okay, I understand. Well, then I guess I will hand it on over to TK. So, yeah, TK, take it away.
Well, when you did, and by quite by quite a bit, yeah, I hopped into one of those lobbies with you, Josh. I don't know if you remember my head-on collision I had with you,
Yes.
as you as you were driving around in various cars. But this is a driver's car, isn't it? Like this is a car. If you're a good driver, you can handle this thing around, and I think we saw that from you. Um, you said you hadn't driven this car before?
The last time I drove it would have probably been GT Sport, and then I won one from a roulette ticket about 2 month or 2 ago. I never really touched it, and then the first time I touched it was before last week's race. I decided I was like, I'll just give it a shot. I made a livery. I want to take some pictures. So that was the first time I've ever driven this car in the game. Was last week, and then this week I didn't really. I got probably a lap or 2 of actual practice in, and then I just decided to go mess around in like a VGT or something. I wasn't. I went into this with almost nothing.
Well, you did an excellent job, and you kept it close, so we weren't bored until the very end when you just ran away. So we appreciate that. What did you think about this car? Are you a fan after using it?
It was pretty fun, especially like in the intermediate stage. I liked the fact that it didn't like you could run on the curb, you could run on the wet tarmac, you could run on the dry, and it was just fine because of all the downforce that it has. It felt really nice, except for the brakes. They were a little bit weird sometimes, but it's just a road car, so I got used to that pretty quickly. But overall, it's a really fun car. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, congratulations, man. You
Thank you.
did a phenomenal job. Pass it over to you, Mullet.
I dropped the ball. What's going on, Monument?
Hey, man.
Congratulations, you are the new and first BHRL champion. Do you have any other things planned for you in the future? Maybe another league? Maybe you'll chill and wait for BHRL 2? You know, like what's the plans now that you are the champ?
I don't really know. I remember you invited me. I was going to participate in your thing,
You come
but
over?
I was going to like, and then I realized I was like, well, I don't know how the internet's going to work here. I mean, I'm sitting in a camper with like this old TV that I played it on, and I don't know how the Wi-Fi is going to work. It's a really makeshift setup, and I didn't even know if I could complete this race. I have a little hotspot on my phone. We went to T-Mobile today, and we bought a hotspot. I didn't know if it would even last for this race. So I'm like, well, I probably shouldn't run your race, even though I wanted to. It looked really fun. Everyone said it was fun, so I was kind of like, I'll try it next month. But I want to do that. I definitely want to do season 2 of this. I want to try and defend the title now, and NRL. I want to do that.
Nice, absolutely. Again, congratulations. No surprise by me whatsoever after racing with you and obviously seeing what you did in the BHRL season. So again, congratulations, and that's all I got for you, bro.
Thank you.
You need to get a sponsorship from T-Mobile now. Get that T-Mobile money. Their hotspots seem to work.
I would like to thank T-Mobile. Like to thank M&M's.
I was gonna say that like as a joke, like, oh, I gotta thank T-Mobile for making this fun, like the NASCAR drivers do. I wanted to do that, but I figured that sounded a little bit like odd, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
What do I do with my hands in this interview?
What do
I don't know.
with my hands? Just put
I don't
them
know,
down.
but thanks a bunch for your time, Monument. Congratulations, our Division 1 champion, and you enjoy your you enjoy your trip.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Car ran real good.
Yep.
Car
Car
ran
good.
real fine.
Thanks to BHR, all the guys back at the factory. Excellent job on the setup. Great job to the
Yeah.
BHR guys.
Yeah.
Pit crew.
Thanks, bro.
All right. Yeah. But with that, that brings this season to a close. So until the next time, y'all be good. We got a commentators race that I guess is happening after this, and yeah.
What?
So y'all be good, and good night.
Omaha.
Omaha.
Later.